Hey guys, today on Ugga Dugga Bois, we're going to be doing an oil change on this 2012 Chevy Cruze. Now, before you start your oil change, you're going to want a couple things. First, you're going to want to make sure that you have your oil plus your filter. And today we're going to be using Mobil 1 High Mileage, and for this 2012 Chevy Cruze, we're going to be using 5W30, and then this is full synthetic. We love our full synthetic. And then we're going to be using a Wix Paper Filter, and the number for that is a 57674. And then a couple other things to make the job easy. We're going to start first. We have a drain pan to drain the oil into, and then we also have a funnel to help us get the oil into the engine. And then two other things we need is we actually have our wrench here, our ratchet wrench, and we're going to be using a 16mm socket to get the drain plug out. And then we also have our overkill, but it'll be very useful for us with our 15/16 socket on it, and that'll help us get our actual filter out. Now your first step is you're going to want to locate your hood latch, and in this car, it is right here. You're going to pull this back. Right now you're going to come around the front of your car, and you're going to locate your hood latch, which is right inside here. You're going to take your hand, just push it right on over. Your hood should come up. Then you're going to want to locate your hood holder so this doesn't fall on you. Put it right in there and you're set to go. Now underneath the car, you're going to take your 16mm and your ratchet. And at first, you're just going to want to loosen it. There we go. Now it's loosened. We're just going to carefully take it out and make sure that you do have your drain pan underneath, because you will start pouring oil out. And we also want to make sure, so what I actually do is while I'm unthreading it, I'm still giving it upwards pressure. As you can see, the oil is coming out. But now that I have upwards pressure, I know it should be all the way out. And there we go. So then you don't drop it in there. And now we're going to let that all drain on out. All right, now you're going to want to locate your filter housing, which on this car is right here. So we're going to take our 15/16 socket. And we're going to try and get our best angle as we can on there, and we're slowly going to loosen it. Then we're going to reach in here and fully loosen it by hand and try and move everything out of the way. And we're going to carefully pull it all out. Kind of got to work your way. And there's your filter. So we'll be replacing this today. And then the new one should also come with a seal. You're going to want to make sure you replace the seal too. So we're going to pop out our old filter here. It should just be a nice little pop, because I get oil literally everywhere, but that's fine. We'll clean that up. You can set that to the side just real quick. You're going to compare them, make sure that they look the same, which they do. So that should be set, and then we don't need this one anymore. Now once we got rid of the old filter, we're going to take our seal here, which you can see right on here is this blue one. And we're just going to take a flat head here. We're going to want to get it underneath. You can kind of hold on to it. And there you go. That can come right off. And you won't need that anymore, so you can actually trash that too. But we'll just set it to the side for now. And then we take our new seal, which came with the filter, which you can see is right here. And we're going to kind of just lay it right on here. You can kind of get it around the first time. There we go. And then you want to work your way down and make sure it is in this bottom gap here. You don't want it too far down. Obviously you don't want it on the other side, and you want to make sure that it's not on the threads up here. So to me that looks like it's rather well seated. And then I actually just took some oil from the cap, some of our new oil. I just take it, put it on my finger. I just put it around the seal, helps it give it a better seal and prevents it from sticking or breaking. And then finally, we're going to go back. We're going to take our new filter, and which way you put it in does matter. It is pretty obvious, but as you can see, there's a little hole in there. You might not be able to see it very well, but these clips actually go right in that hole. So you're just going to take it, push it right in, give a nice little push. There you go. It's real steady in there. So that is all set to go back in. Now with our new filter in, we're going to try and carefully put this back in the filter housing. So we're going to carefully just try and move everything out of the way and get the filter right on in there. And you want to make sure the center does go in. There should be something sticking out in the filter housing. And there we go. It actually slid in perfectly. And with this part, you want to be very careful when you're turning it on. the first couple times it should be very simple. If it is actually hard and you're having a hard time struggling to get on and you need a wrench, you may want to take it off and redo it because you may be cross-threading it, especially with this housing being plastic. You might be cracking it. So that should go on very easily. And then we're going to go, once it's been tightened down, it's now hitting the seal, so it's gotten a little bit harder to get on. We're going to take our 15/16, and once again, we're just going to tighten it down. All right, so we're getting close to tightening it. We're going to give it just a little bit. You don't want to over tighten it because this is plastic, so you can crack it. Give it just a nice little tightening. There we go. And you should be set to go. So now we can see our filter housing and the cap is fully seated. There's no gap in there. So now it's time. We're going to go back underneath the car, and then we're going to put our drain plug back in, which is right here. And then it's time to put your oil back in. Now back underneath the car, we're going to take our drain plug right here. We're just going to use some clean cloth. We're just going to give it just a little bit of a clean so we're not putting any dirt back in. And it's also done dripping here. There's a little bit left, but that's fine. We're just going to do a quick little clean. Just get any dirt around there. And then we're going to carefully thread our plug back in. And once again, this should go in very simple. So as you can see, it went in very smoothly. I didn't really have to fight it much. So we'll get it pretty tightened down. It's now hand tight. Once again, I'm going to take my 16mm and give it just a couple turns. You don't have to over tighten it. So right about there, probably about another quarter turn after you've hand tightened it, and you should be set. And then finally, I'm going to take our rag again, and I'm just going to clean up all around it. This helps it, so once we do put oil in and start the car, if we start to see oil around here, we know we may have a leak. So we want to make sure this is all nice and clean. And just like that, that is nice and clean. Now it's time to fill her up with some oil. Now you're going to want to locate your oil fill, which on this engine's right here. It actually says oil right on top. And it does say what kind of oil that you want to use, so that is very handy. So I'm just going to take that, pop it off, and set it to the side. Make sure that it is face up so we're not getting it full of dirt. And then we're going to take our funnel here, and we're just going to give it a nice little clean, just so that we're not getting any dirt that might be in the funnel and pouring that straight into the engine. So we're going to take this and put it right in there. And we're going to take our oil and carefully put it in. And then you do want to be careful when doing this, as if you do pour too much, you might overflow it. So you want to be very careful. As you can see, it is starting to pool up. So you got to kind of moderate it, otherwise you will pour it over and you'll pour it all over the place. All right, and then to start off, we're going to put in about 4 quarts. We believe it takes around 4.5. But we're going to start with 4 and then just carefully add after that. So now we have about 4 quarts in here. So we're going to carefully remove our funnel and we're going to set that to the side for now. And now we want to check our oil just to make sure that we have enough in there. So you're going to want to locate your engine oil dipstick, which on this car is right here. It's nice bright yellow. And first off, we're just going to pull it completely out. Give it a nice clean. This will let us re-put it back in and get a good accurate reading. So it's nice and clean. Carefully put it back in. You want to make sure that you give it a full seat. It should be all the way down. And then once again, you can pull it out. And as you can see, this is your safe level right in there. And from what it looks like, we're right about there. So it's almost halfway. So we're gonna add just a little bit more. All right, there we go. So we should have about 4.5 quarts. We're a little bit shy of that, maybe like 4.3 quarts, but at least we were already in the safe zone. Now we'll do another check. So once again, we'll fully pull out and we'll make sure it's nice and clean. Once again, give it a full seat. We'll pull it out. And there we go. We're a little bit above half, so we're about halfway in the safe level. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to start the car. And basically what that is going to do is that's going to pressurize the system. So it'll get oil both up in the upper head. It'll get it in your oil housing, plus anywhere else it may need to be. So that will give you a little bit more of an accurate reading. But you do want to make sure that before starting your engine that you are at least half safe, or even a little bit before that. You want to make sure that you are in the safe zone before starting your engine. All right, now with our engine running, we're going to give it just a quick look in here into our oil filter housing. And I don't see anything leaking. There doesn't seem to be any oil around that, so that should be all set to go. We know it's fully sealed. And then we're going to go underneath the car. Now, underneath the car, we're going to do a quick look. And as we can see, the drain plug looks to be completely clean, so we should not have any leaks. So we did our final check. We made sure nothing was leaking, so we're all set to go. Now, the final thing you're going to want to do is, as you can see, we are actually on ramps. So we're about half a foot to a foot in the air, which what happens is it causes the car to actually be at a little bit of an angle. So what you're going to want to do is back down your ramps and make sure you're on a flat surface wherever you are. Make sure you're not on a hill. And then you're going to want to do a final check and make sure that you are well into the safe zone. Just because if you are on a little bit of an angle, it can move the oil to one end, or it can kind of throw your dipstick off. So you want to make sure that you're on a flat surface to get a final reading. Finally, once you're done, you're going to take off your hood holder and put it right into place. Make sure it snaps in. Now we're going to take our hood, and you don't want to drop it from too close. You want to give it a nice little bit of a gap, otherwise it won't lock in. So give it a little drop. There we go. It should be locked in. Should not move up at all. There should be no space, and you're set to go.